Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Kamaru Usman. How do you like such a headline? Why Kamaru? It's simple. At the moment there are no higher fighters with whom Rakhmonov could fight, and if he defeats the Nigerian, then 100% he will get his title fight, since Usman is on the first line of the rating. Hello everyone, Fighters Are With You MMA Predictions channel. In this video, I will give a prediction for a potential fight between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Kamaru Usman. But before the start of this video, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like it so that as many fans as possible can see this episode. Let's analyze the fighters who are above Shavkat. Maybe there is someone else besides Kamaru. The sixth line is occupied by Shavkat, so we move lower and see that on the fifth and fourth lines are Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad, who will fight each other this summer, and it is clear that they have no plans to fight with Rakhmonov. Moving on to the third line, where we have Khamzat Chimaev, who has already decided to move up in weight. There are rumors that he will soon fight against Paulo Costa, so you can forget about him. The second place in the rating is occupied by Colby, who will soon fight with the champion of this weight class, Leon Edwards, and it is not a good idea to expect that he will accept the fight with Shavkat. And now we slowly got to the first welterweight number, Kamaru Usman, who a little more than a month ago lost by unanimous decision in a championship fight. I think enough time has already passed to recover, and now I think he should start looking for fights and pay attention to the promising Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is also the only fighter who is closer to the top 5 and is currently free. As we found out, the athletes are approaching each other. Both fought in Marta. Enough time has passed. The fighters have recovered and are ready for battle. Both have no one to fight with, as the others are just busy. I have already described above. If you missed it, then rewind and watch. And it is not profitable for them to meet with fighters who guard the top 10 welterweights. Defeating them in the extreme will not give them anything. And if, for example, Kamaru defeats Rakhmonov, then he will grow again in the eyes of the main promotion, and they will consider him as a potential contender for the belt. And if Shavkat wins, then first of all he will receive a considerable share of hype, and secondly, he will become the main contender for the title belt, and the winner of the Edwards-Covington pair will simply have to pass this fighter. I briefly tried to explain to you why I decided to make this video, but we will smoothly move to the analysis of this fight. I will try to analyze every little thing in order to give an answer in the end, who will be able to come out of the octagon as a winner. Percussion style. Well, as usual, we start with striking technique, and the first in line is Shavkat Rakhmonov. With each fight he fights in the main organization of the world, Shavkat shows us that his striking skills are growing. Look at where he started and what level he has reached. And this is not the end of it. For the fight against Kamaru Usman, he will show an even better version of himself. In the stands, he is absolutely versatile. He has various creative punches that help him finish the fight, and he also has a knockout power that he has repeatedly frightened his counterparts. Look at the recent fight between Shavkat and Jeff Neal. Everyone expected that the American would show how weak Rakhmonov is in this path, but no, Nomad showed that no matter who stands against him, he will give competition to any fighter, including the champion. Let's move on to the striking component of Kamaru Usman. If you judge it this way, then it can all be divided into two stages. The first is before the fight with Leon Edwards, when Kamaru looked better and better in the standing position with each fight. Knocked Colby down twice, was able to tightly chop Masvidal, even at first interrupt Leon Edwards. Look how cool his punch was. But after that very knockout, Kamaru was no longer the same. In the second fight, he was much more condensed than then. Leon easily interrupted the Nigerian on his hands, his practiced kicks on the body, and legs flew especially well. And I don't know how to judge Kamaru specifically, since it seems that his striking skills are at a high level, but who knows, maybe he won't come back the same. Maybe everything is okay with his skills, but mentally definitely not. It seems to me that he will think about this knockout all the time and try to block punches as much as possible, and at the same time not respond. And so I will give this aspect to Shavkat Rakhmonov, who has only been improving his performance lately, unlike Kamaru Usman. Playing from the bottom. Let's move on to wrestling skills, and this time we will start with Kamaru Usman, who has also been showing something bad lately. It became much more difficult for him to transfer his opponents. The same middle peasant named Jorge Masvidal defended himself from most of the attempts. Moreover, as I know, Kamaru has problems with his knees. He had them before, but then his age allowed him to perform. But now, when he is already 36 years old, he begins to feel all that pain in the passages, and therefore, instead of translations, we can expect a boring fuss around the cage. It is not worth remembering Usman from the time of the fight with Rafael dos Anjos. That time has already passed, and Kamaru's top skills in wrestling also remained there. Look how he fought in the second fight with Leon. The Briton easily defended himself from all the transfers of the Nigerian, and in the second fight he himself transferred and made the former champion nervous. Let's move on to the wrestling skills of Shavkat Rakhmonov. Yes, Shavkat has an excellent base on the ground in addition to striking technique. As we know, many fighters did not appreciate his skills on the canvas, for which they paid with excellent submissions. For an example, it is not worth going for a long time. It is enough to remember the same fight against Jeff Neal, in which the fighters spent the entire fight on their feet. The American had already forgotten about this fight, but in vain. Rakhmonov took advantage of this and forced him to surrender. You can also remember Nomad's debut, when he caught a cowboy on the guillotine. Although he is from Brazil, his arsenal of swords is constantly replenished, and if suddenly Kamaru decides to pass Shavkatu's legs without any reconnaissance, it can end sadly for the representative of Nigeria, and therefore, due to my youth and agility, I will again believe in Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is full of strength and hungry for fights. Cardio spirit. As for Shavkat's cardio, he will be quite enough for 3 rounds, and at a high pace. I will not say anything about the 5-round distance until he showed himself there, but he will withstand a 15-minute fight 100%. As for Kamaru, we can say without a doubt that he will be better than Shavkat. He has more 5-round fights than Shavkat, has early victories, and as you have already understood, Usman will be the favorites. As for the spirit, here without hesitation Shavkat, and I think you understand why. Forecast. I think that Shavkat Rakhmonov will win this fight. Of course, most likely there will be difficulties, but he will cope with them and eventually take first place.